Okay, so this is our Sunday night team huddle. Welcome everybody. It is Sunday, September 9th. And Fallon, I just started recording, but I gave you a little shout out just a minute ago. Sister, you're doing a killer job on your sponsoring. So we're so proud of you and just so pumped. You were our top sponsor last month. And I can just not only tell you guys, I love when I see on my phone, it's like, oh, so and so posted in the team page, and you're just welcoming new people. Like, that's my most favorite thing. No matter who's sponsoring people into the team, I just love it. So I just said, make sure you get your fall products, make sure you have your holiday line if you haven't gotten those yet. Work towards booking the 10. Like I said, if you don't have your 10 booked by tomorrow night, book them. Just do a personal challenge and say, gosh darn it, I'm going to get 10 activities booked or 10 parties booked by the 15th. If you haven't started listening to the call series that I posted, that area manager call series by Linda Parker, I would highly recommend doing that. And you can listen to that while you're doing other things. I do a lot of listening while I'm driving in my car. So I'm not necessarily giving it my full attention, but I'm hearing the information, and I can still be, taking care of my kiddos or different things like that. But those calls I've gotten through, I think the first 3 of them, they're excellent. They're just excellent. I love hearing from top leaders. There's a reason that they're top leaders. Linda Parker has a killer business, it's a sick business, meaning she makes crazy awesome money. And she's just so awesome and humble. So listen to that. The last thing that I'm gonna wanted to share before we have people share from the Knoxville training is that you guys know that from the Lisa Voorhees Success Line down, which we are a part of, we are doing an area manager VP retreat in Gatlinburg in November, which is the weekend of it's in November. It is the weekend of the 9th and 10th. They want to open it up to people. They're not making like a big formal announcement, but they want to open it up to people that get into qualification for area. So go into qual this month, you can finish next month and go to the retreat. Or if you have people and you're like, oh my gosh, they're getting started this month, maybe they finish district this month, and they go into qual for area next month, they'll be eligible to go as well. Okay, so that's just something that's exciting. It's always good to go to every event that's offered that you can be a part of. So, okay, so I want to let you guys hear from the gals that were at Impact Knoxville so far. I see Brenda, I see Alabama Amy, and I see Beth. So what I am going to do is I am going to have Brenda kick us off. Then Amy, you can go second. Beth, you can go third. And if anybody else from the event yesterday hops on, we will get them plugged into the call. But really what I want you to do is just unmute and share with us your takeaway. Just one thing that really stuck out to you from yesterday at the Knoxville training. So Brenda, I'm going to let you kick us off.
Okay, I want to say a couple of things. One, it wasn't easy to get there. It was one of those things that I was like, not sure if I'm going to make it. I'll keep it on the burner. Yes, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. We'll just see how it rolls. And Missy texted and said, hey, are you going to Impact? There may be some girls that want to ride with you. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. So then a few others were interested in going, still hadn't signed up yet. And I went ahead and registered, and it turned out only one rode with me, and had never met her. I showed up in my PJs and no mascara, and we drove to Knoxville. She's super awesome, had a wonderful time, but I just felt in my heart I needed to be there, but I was looking for a reason not to go. I know that sounds awful, but I knew the intent. I needed to get there. And the whole time I was sitting there, I didn't take notes. I just wanted to soak it in. And I just kept hearing the voice saying, this is why you were here. This is what, with every speaker, there was a different phrase that they would say, and sometimes you feel like they're saying, hey, Brenda, this is why you came. This is why I wanted you here. And anyway, whatever the reason was, I'm grateful that I was there. I got to see people that I don't always get to see, to include Missy and Tara, and got to meet Amy. But the overall takeaway for me was, again, I didn't take any messages or any notes because I wanted to really hear what everybody was saying. And everybody was awesome. But the overall message I received was, uh, it may have been Beth when she was speaking. I'm not sure, Beth Lomas, but it was basically, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with this? She kept saying this, this is a gift. We all know it. We all know the opportunity is a gift because it can change lives. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do with it? You can come to the training, you can have a few parties, you can make a little money, make your $200 for groceries or whatever, but what legacy are you going to leave? And this is when I felt she was really talking to me, was, what are you going to do with it? What kind of legacy are you going to leave for your family? So I started just churning. I've seen my mom work extremely hard all her life for all of us. Do I want my kids to see that? Do I want my kids to work super hard all their life and live paycheck to paycheck? And I don't want that. So the takeaway for me was, what legacy do I want to leave for my family? Not just take care of the immediate, but use what I've been given. It's not just, oh my gosh, I have to make a few phone calls for a few parties just to get the word out. It is share the information that, people, it's not about the products. It's about the energy of the empowerment, the awesome people that you're in the room with at the trainings, that you're in the room with at the meetings and the parties. It's the vibe you get from the people that you get to share with about the products that change your skin, change your body, change your hormones, whatever it is. It's filling that void of, what am I going to do? Am I just going to sit in my house and think about, oh, I'll book it the next, whatever. But now I'm rambling. But the point is, what am I going to do? So I'm going to make a difference.
I love that. And that's a great question to leave with all of us. What are we going to do with it? Because we've been given it, we've been entrusted with it. I never think people are introduced to Arbonne for accident, and I absolutely never think that people say yes for an accident. So, so that's awesome. All right, Amy from Alabama, you're up, sister. You're up.
Hey guys, it was all really, really great stuff. The one thing that kind of just punched me in the gut was like, ugh, was when, what's her name? It wasn't Ashley Stone, but it was the other Ashley that was in the Air Force.
Ashley Strong.
Yes. And she said the whole, there's 14, 40. Yeah. Like minutes in the day. And always say, oh, we don't have, enough time. And I was one of those people. I mean, you know me, I drive. When I'm not driving, I'm working. When I'm not working, I'm driving. Then I get home and it's 8:30 and I'm like, oh, I just don't have time. And I was like, wow, in 1 minute, the way she said it is, you could send someone an invite to look at the business. And then I was like, I'm going to start doing that on my lunch break. And seriously, like when I take my phone to the restroom with me, I can do that when I'm in the restroom. It's just taking, or making the effort to take advantage of the time that you would have wasted some other way that is totally not beneficial, and using those few minutes to grow your business. And so it was all great, but like that one thing is the one thing that stuck out, and the one thing that I'm going to take away. And then Ashley Stone had said, 10 asked a week, go ahead and knock it out on that Monday. Knock it out on Monday, so you're not like, oh, I don't want to message her. Oh, I'm so uncomfortable. Just go ahead and do it and get out of the way. So I'm going to try to start implementing that, doing 10 invites a week on a Monday, and then utilizing my time better. And so that was the biggest nuggets I took away.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I had never heard like 1440 when she said my favorite number is 1440. And she said, it's my favorite number because that's how many minutes in a day we have, and we all have the same. And she said, how are you going to spend them? So that's awesome. I love that. And I want to give a shout out to Amy because she drove all the way from Alabama by herself She rented a car. She just did it. And that's a big deal. You know, it's one thing for us to kind of carpool together and jump in, but for her to just step up and do that, I was just so happy that she came. And everybody that met Alabama Amy loves Alabama Amy. I mean, I'm like,
I loved everybody.
She's coming to Vegas, because those of you that didn't meet Alabama Amy, you missed out, because this girl is hilarious on every level. So, all right, Beth, I'm going to let you share your takeaway nugget.
Okay, so Alabama Amy actually stole mine, but I'll do a different one. And she's going to laugh because it is from Ashley Stone. I didn't realize that she was stuck in the same spot for 7 years.
Yeah.
And when she said that, that kind of almost like scared me a little, because I was like, I don't want to be stuck. And somebody else was like, I don't care if you've been a district manager 972 times. And I don't want to do that either, because I lost my district, as you know. And it's funny that Brenda said she was like kind of dreading coming, because at first the only reason I signed up is, number one, I wanted to see all of you guys because I haven't seen you in 2 months, and because Liz signed up. And I'm accountable for Liz and other people, but since Liz was there, I was like, I need to show up. And then hearing Ashley Stone's story about like waiting, going back, just like bopping around, and now where she is, like, I don't want to wait 13 years to do that. And that just resonated with me to kind of get it together and decide, am I in or am I out? So that was my biggest takeaway.
Good. That's awesome. Yeah. And Ashley's story is funny because she, when she was at that place, she was like, she just had the thought of like, I've done everything and it's not working. And she kind of was throwing herself like this pity party, and just then actually realized that she had only, if you only count your months in Arbonne per your activity, which is, you know, like getting in front of 30 people a month, even though she had been a district manager for 7 years, she said, I had only actually been in business for 6 months. And so it just painted perspective, because she said there was only 6 months that I could count on my calendar that I'd actually followed the system. She said, I was thinking about Arbonne a lot. And like she said, you know, organizing her office, networking, being out, but she wasn't actually following the system. And so once she decided, she grew to area really quickly, and then grew to region, then grew on to nation. So it was awesome. Okay. I don't see anybody else that has hopped on. So I'm going to share a couple of the takeaways that I had. And one of the things that I love about going to trainings like Impact, and why they are valuable, and I think everybody can relate with Brenda's feelings, with Beth's feelings of that, like, I want to go, but like it requires effort, it requires childcare, it's going to cost me money, I'm going to be away, you know. And some of you might be like, I want to get away, and we do, but it does come at a cost and an expense. But when you get there, what you get is you see real normal people. Like, they're just normal people. And what I was so struck by was how the people that were sharing on this stage, how not only has Arbonne impacted their life, but how they're using Arbonne to impact other people's lives. Like one of the gals that spoke, Zoe Kinney, she shared that she has been, that she, I think it was like in her childhood or teenage years, and somebody can correct me if you remember this, but like she was a victim of sexual abuse. And so she just talked about being a victim and having to really overcome that. But now she and her team are working with this ranch. It's like a rescue ranch for people that have been in, that are getting pulled out of sex trafficking. And she just, like, that was, you know, a big reason. Her Arbonne business is a big reason that she can do that. Ashley Strong, the military gal, spoke, and which I didn't know this about her story, is she grew up in and out of women's shelters. She was in and out of foster homes as a kiddo. Her mom was a single mom of 3 kids, and she just, you know, shared a little bit about what that experience was like. And now, because she is a national vice president, she fully funds a women's shelter in Colorado. And I've heard her talk about this on a training before, and she just said, sometimes we need to be building this business because other people need our extra. Because if you think, I don't really need $20,000 a month to live. We could live very comfortably on 10. Okay, that's fine. You live on 10 and then you give the other 10,000 a month away, because there are other people that are depending on your extra. And so sometimes we have to get that mindset shift, that this isn't about us, that this isn't just what we can do or what we can have, but it's about the change that we can make. Eunice Ray was videoed in because she was supposed to speak and she couldn't, because her husband has, from his years of military service, protecting our freedoms so that we can be free, has like severe brain injuries. And he's really kind of in the end stages of his life. But because she built her Arbonne business, because she has an Arbonne business, even though the impact is happening to her, her marriage, her family, you know, she's not very old. She's in her mid 60s and she's losing her husband. But because of this business, she's able to not only give him the care that she can, but be there with him. And it just struck me on all these different levels. And then on the opposite end, you had Danielle Laver, who brought up her 4 little pumpkins, and like they're 2 to 10 years old. And, you know, we have to just realize how this business, what we are doing when no one's watching and no one cares, you guys, and I get it. Like, I know what it feels like to be like, oh, I got to send more texts, or, oh, I got to ask one more person, or I'm going to go do a party. And you get there and you're like, okay, these are the 2 most boring, negative people on the entire planet. And you just want to pack up your bag and be like, oh, my kid's sick. Like, I've had those thoughts of like, Sonny, please just call me and tell me there's like an emergency, because I got to get out of this party, because this is like, it just feels awful. Like, I know what that feels like. I know when you're, you know, doing a Zoom with someone and they're just like literally cleaning out their kitchen cabinets and the phone isn't even like making contact with them. And you're like, okay, we're going to do this anyways because you're a business owner. And I get that. But what you have to remember, and you can't focus on the events, you can't focus on the appointments, you can't focus on, you know, those things. What keeps your hand to this business, what will get you to do tomorrow morning, what you need to do so that you can be where you need to be in your business at close of this month, is having that bigger vision, of having that bigger purpose, of knowing that you were made for a greater impact, knowing that there are people that are depending on your extra, and if you don't give it to them, they won't have it. That is the truth of life, is that there is a role for you to fill. There's a role for every one of us to fill. And you can't be somebody that says, well, I can't go make extra, so we'll just hope that somebody else goes and does more to cover. You have to do your part, because there are people in your family, in your community, in your schools, in your churches that are going to be dependent and needing your extra. Okay. So just the impact part was really, really big. Another thing was Zoe Kinney talked about, and we all know this, but it's that thing of like, you can just hear it again and you feel like you hear it for the first time. And she said, the only thing that's ever holding us back in our business is something in our head or in our heart. It's never a how-to. It's never a system issue. It's never, I don't know what to do. I don't have enough people. I don't have enough time. That's never actually what's holding us back. It's a belief in our heart, a belief in our head about ourselves, about this business, about this industry. And so anytime you're feeling like, I'm just not moving forward in the way I want to, you do a heart check and you do a head check. And what I'm going to tell you from lots of things that I've read is that your heart is 1,000,000 times more powerful than the mind. And you can know truth, but if you don't know truth in your heart, the heart overrides the head. That's why we make illogical, stupid decisions sometimes, because it's what's lodged in the heart. Even though we can know, if I get in front of 30 people this month, I will move my business forward. If you don't have that belief sealed in your heart, And your heart belief is, well, I don't really know if I could, one, get in front of 30 people. Well, even if I get in front of 30 people, I don't know if it's actually going to make a difference. And well, it doesn't even really matter because I can't get in front of 30 people for XYZ reasons. So you can say, I got to get in front of 30 people this month. I know I need to get in front of 30 people. But if what is stored in the beliefs of your heart is not that, but it's that other stuff, you operate out of your heart. And so then you get those results. Okay. So that was really powerful. There was a new MVP. I think her name is Blair Prophet. And she was a military wife, had little babies at home. Her story was really encouraging. She actually reached out to her friend to kind of say like, hey, what are you doing? This is interesting. You know, I'm kind of looking to do something for extra income. Started her business, sponsored two gals that grew really quickly. And those two gals actually both promoted to region before Blair did. And so she was an area with two promoted out regions. And she just talked about like, it was so awesome, but it was tough at the same time, just knowing that, you know, like they had accomplished the thing that I wanted. And she just shared about how her husband really helped paint perspective. Like, you set out in your business to do this and you've done that. You've set out to do this and you've done it. You set out to do this and you've done it. And she just decided like, stop having a pity party and just go do the work. And she went from area to nation within 12 months. And it was just encouraging and really exciting. But what she talked about is, she said, I shifted from having an Arbonne boutique to having an Arbonne franchise. And that shift is sharing product, selling product, talking about product. That's somebody that has an Arbonne boutique. To an Arbonne franchise is someone who understands the power of multiplying this business out, leading with the business, sharing the business. And I just loved that analogy, because I thought that that was really relatable for people. Like, if you have people when you're sponsoring them and you're like, hey, if you want to make $200-$300 a month, you totally can. You're going to have like an Arbonne boutique. You're mostly going to be sharing products. You're mostly going to be talking about products. But if you want a franchise with VP income, or if you want, you know, an Arbonne business that's going to give you VP income, you need to look at this as a franchise, as a virtual franchise where you're going to multiply yourself out over and over again. And so I loved those things. There was some other things, but I see that Ashley has hopped on and Tara's hopped on. So I'm going to toss it over to Ashley in Ohio. Going to give her and her mom a big shout too, because they were brave and came and had never met any of us. And we're just so wonderful and just melted right in with the group. So Ashley, I'm going to let you unmute and share your takeaway from yesterday.
All right. Hey, everybody. You'll have to excuse me. My 3-year-old is right. Okay, you can say hi. Yeah, I figured. Come here really quick. Say hi. This is Kendall.
Hi, Kendall. You can always say hi.
Say hi. We just finished our bath.
That's awesome.
So I won't take up too much time. But I was just kind of. Okay, no, you can't have it. I was just thinking about, I'm going over my notes even earlier today and stuff, and a lot of stuff stood out to me. And I think probably all of us struggle with. I think my favorite thing it was called this yesterday was head trash, because that's what it pollutes our ability to grow and to reach out to people. And but more than that, there was an analogy about working for, like, you know, the head guy at Google, and you wouldn't slack off, and he wouldn't find it acceptable for you to just sit around and put off making those phone calls and fulfilling, you know, all of the duties. And so why we accept that for ourselves when we wouldn't work that way for anyone else, but we'll work. I can't talk to her on my lap. You can't talk to her on your lap. But why will we accept that for ourselves? Why is it okay to put off things that benefit our family, or like bigger pictures like our churches, or any charities that we want to support? Why is it okay that we accept less from ourselves than we would give to someone else? So that kind of really stood out to me. Why am I selling myself short? And so that,
May I talk to her?
yeah, you can talk to her. Just say hi, okay?
Can I please?
So that's, I mean,
Oh,
that's the biggest thing for me. Of course I struggle with all of the head trash stuff, but just realizing that I would bust my rear end for someone else, but I'm willing to accept less for myself and my family.
I want to talk to her.
Not a cool attitude to have. Not a
Yeah.
cool attitude to have. And just it was just a really good check for me to keep in mind. So
That's awesome. Yes. And I think I remember somebody shared a similar analogy of like being a business owner, you know, like if you had a store, a shop, and you had invested $100,000 and it was open Monday to Saturday from 9 o'clock till 6 o'clock, you would be there and you would sacrifice a ton of things and you would find ways to make it happen. You wouldn't be like, oh, I really, it's just, I mean, my kids have like a field trip or my whatever, you know, or I'm just too tired. I don't want to go in today, or, oh, it makes me uncomfortable. You know, you wouldn't do those things. But because it is so, this business can be put off really easily. And because we don't have $100,000 investment in it, you know, it is just disciplining ourselves and really being willing to work as hard for our own business as we are for other people's businesses. And I can look in this team, I can look on this screen of people, and those of you that either currently work or have worked in the past, you work really hard or you have worked really hard for other people. Go work that hard for yourself. Go work that. Be willing to be your own best employee. I used to tease with my sister all the time that if I was ever her employee when she worked for Target, she would have fired me after about 2 days, which probably was true. But I had maybe one day. I'd have 2 days because you'd give me grace on the first day. But I will tell you all that I have disciplined myself and I have learned I work harder for my own Arbonne business than I do for anything else because it pays me the best. It can't be taken away from me. It has the best rewards, and it is the best plan for my family. So we have to start prioritizing it in that way, looking at it in that way. It doesn't have to take the most time. If you're like, well, Missy, I can't prioritize 40 hours a week to my business because I already prioritize 40 hours a week to my job. It doesn't require that, but what it does require is every day it is a priority. And it doesn't get put to the bottom of the list and, well, I'm going to get to it like the post that I did on the Facebook team page today, someday. You can't build a business on some days because some days never come. So, all right. Tara, why don't you unmute and you share your takeaway from yesterday? Thank you, Ashley. That was great. And Kendall's a doll. I love her. She likes to talk. She can call me anytime. We can talk anytime.
Awesome. Sorry for the delay. And I'm not sure if I'll repeat stuff, but you never know. Things heard a second time are probably pretty good. I think the thing that was the coolest for me from Knoxville is that much of what was shared fell perfectly in line with what I've been reading and spending time with just for my own personal development. And that was just a lot about vision, decisions, affirmations, kind of like what Ashley said, just even some of that mind talk, self-talk, mind junk. But a couple of just statements, I guess, that I wrote down they're just simple and it's not something new, but I don't know. They just appeared today or yesterday in a kind of a fresh light. The first was the way we look at things changes when we change the way we look at things. And it wasn't, and that led me, and I don't even think they were in the same training, but basically someone shared, I don't remember who it was, talked about blessings and achievements. And I don't do a very good job of recording or looking at the blessings that I have or the achievements that I've had in my life, whether they're from Arbonne or not. And so I just started making a list of all of the things that I get to do or get to have or get to be because of what I have done up until this point in life. And it has
it just made a pretty significant impact because it made me change the way that I see things. So instead of seeing like my calendar is too empty, or my my dashboard doesn't look like I want it to, all of that will come because I can look at my past and say, like, I have accomplished all of these things already up until this point. And if I just keep my eyes on the things that I want and change the way that I'm looking at things, then things will change. So that was really good. And then the other thing, again, I don't remember who said this, but and it's actually a Tony Robbins quote, so I didn't get it written down. I want to go back and look it up, but it just says, make a decision and then take away any possibility for an excuse. Because I like excuses. They're kind of fun. I mean, they're an easy way out. And as a single individual, like, I don't have anybody in my house that's watching. I mean, people are watching, but they're watching in a different way. So I don't have a spouse that like is expecting an income. I don't have kids that are needing things. If I don't do it, the only person I'm disappointing is me. But kind of as Miss, you just shared on what Ashley shared, like, why is it okay to disappoint myself when I wouldn't want to disappoint someone else? So just making that decision, whatever that decision is. I mean, the decision could be to go to the gym, or the decision could be to reach out to one person a day, or book up your calendar, whatever that is, but then take away the possibility for any excuse. And if I find the quote and it sounds better than that, I'll post it on the team page. But there was lots of things I could share, but those were the two that probably were the most impactful.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is, this was a little exercise. Danielle Laver was the keynote, and she spoke twice, and she killed it, and it was awesome. But she just shared 3 things, and so I want you guys to write down this, and you can work on it tonight, you can work on it tomorrow, but it's own your own. You own your own, and then there's a blank, and write 1 to 5, and do that 3 times. So own your own, blank, then 1 to 5, own your own blank, 1 to 5, own your own blank, 1 to 5. And she just talked about own your own time. And she said, in order to have time freedom, we have to be willing to sacrifice time. And those 5 things are, what are the 5 things that you would do if you had unlimited time? And I will tell you, as she was sharing this, like, when I hear things like that, I'm like, oh, I could totally come up with that. But actually writing out what are 5 things I would be doing with my time if I had total control of my time, I wrote down 4, and then I was like, I don't know, And so I think it's just good to really go, piggybacking off what Tara said, of a vision. Like, we have to have a vision of what would we do if we woke up as Carlita Nelson, as an ENVP, making, probably close to $100,000 a month, and you had unlimited time. What would you do? What are those 5 things you would go do? The second, own your own, is own your own finances. If money was not a problem, what would you do? I always have I can always rattle off like 2 or 3, but then it's like, but what would you really do? So write out 5 things, and then own your impact. What are the top 5 ways that you want to leave a legacy or make an impact? And those were all blank. I didn't have anything. I was still on the first, owning my time. But I think that was just a great exercise on really building the vision that you have for yourself. Because every person on this call, every person who's going to watch this recording, every person on our team, you have to drill into what it is for you. Because what it is for Tara, what it is different than what it is for me. And what it is for me is different than what it is for Ashley, or for Alabama Amy, or Edie. It's all going to be different. So you got to drill into what is it for you. And then you operate out of those visions, those passions, those callings. Those are the things that put the fuel to the discipline, which then in turn will yield the results. So thank you, girls, for sharing. I I'm so pumped for you all to go to Chicago this weekend. I will tell you, I'm a little bit jealous that I'm going to miss out, but we'll live vicariously through you. And just be prepared. Next Sunday, we will do the same format, and we will hear from all of you guys that are going to Chicago, because there's equally about the same amount of people going. So anyways, thank you girls that shared tonight. I so appreciate you. You guys are just doing an incredible job. I think all of the effort and all of the seeds that were planted this spring and summer are starting to come to fruition. It's exciting. I'm so proud of you guys. Keep your hand to your business over the next 90 days, because I know big things are really coming for your business over these next 90 days. So love you all so much. Thanks for being on tonight. Get some rest, and let's make it a killer week. Good night.